Hey dude, I'm gonna make a cool video for you, I think. Alright, so you're in Procreate and you're gonna open a canvas. I've got mine set for Society 6 specs. I'm gonna pick a t-shirt size. There it is. You can pinch it down so you can see the whole screen, just 2 fingers. We'll change the size. I'm not very good at talking. Then if you want to, you can go to this little wrench thing, has a lot of tools. Under canvas, you can go to canvas information, and then you can see the dimensions. This is 3300 pixels by 5100 pixels. The DPI is 300, blah, blah, blah. This is kind of cool. You can see how many layers you have. We can work with 27 layers in this one. The larger the canvas gets, like if you picked a size that would print out to be like a shower curtain or something, because it doesn't vector, you have to pick the size, you're gonna have less layers than this. I think the size that prints as a shower curtain is, I think you only get 10 layers. So you have 27 layers to work with. That's kind of important to know. You can check out your color profile, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so anyways. Oh, and then about this artwork, that's where you can go to name it when you're done. You can sign it and it kind of does a timestamp of what you did. So that's cool. We're gonna go back to the wrench and do add and insert a photo. This is where we'll pick your Chuck Berry design. You can kind of size it while you're in here. This'll, you know, turn it and stuff. Get it as big as you want for it to fit on the screen, and once you've got it there, you can, on that same layer, you can use this arrow to select it and move it around again if you want. I've got snapping on. This makes a grid. That line shows up down the middle. Now I've centered it. You can center it vertically and horizontally. Now it should be, oops, way to go. Center, center. I lost my center. Well, you can get it right in the middle. Flip horizontal, flip vertical, you know, it's got all that kind of stuff. This is uniform, so it moves everything the same. If we switch it to, oops, if we switch it to freeform, that's when you can kind of make it shorter or longer. I'm gonna double tap with 2 fingers to take it back to the original. Distort is another one where you can kind of, whoa, what the fuck, Chuck Berry? I'm gonna take it back to normal. Uniform is one of the most handy things. Okay, so you've got that all set, and then we'll start a new layer. Using different layers is super important. So layer 2, we're gonna call it outline. Oops. There's a few different pens that I like the most. I'm gonna outline in red because I'll be able to see it better. So under inking, this is the technical pen. And this one's kind of cool because it has a taper to it. They're all kind of touch sensitive, but you see how it gets thinner at the end? I'm just gonna undo those. The other one that I like a lot, I don't change these very much. You can mess around with them and change them. Oh, under calligraphy, I like monoline. This one doesn't have a taper at all. It's consistent. It's the same line all the way through. You can't taper it. It's always just solid. We'll undo those. I think you're probably gonna want the taper. We'll go to technical pen. If you click it like that, you can see what's inside of it. One thing that you want is your streamline turned up around 70%. And that's gonna keep your line from looking wobbly. It'll smooth it out as you draw. If you make it too streamlined, then you won't be able to get nice curves on it or whatever. So crank that up to about 70. I've got mine at 69%. You can change the taper the shape, do all this other crazy shit. I don't mess with them very much. But the streamlining is really important. You can do that on almost every brush. So I've got it red, and we're gonna change the color of this later, but this is just so I can actually see what I'm doing. Oh, that's a very thick line. Oops. Yeah, that's the width of the line, and this one's the opacity. And you double tap to undo it, of course. You tap 3 fingers, and it'll redo it. You also have an undo and a redo down here, the little arrows. Okay. And you can kind of make that taper if you want. This is touch sensitive. I can go really light for a thinner line, and that'll make a thicker line if I press harder. How was your day, dude? And just kind of fill that in as you go. So this is a lot different from the Adobe stuff. I think it's more natural because you're just gonna like trace it, which is like what I get to do at work or whatever. And you can take a little area like this, like that's outlined, and I want to fill it in. You can actually just drag that over. It'll fill in the rest of that area for you. Just kind of do your best to trace everything. I'm not really into editing, so you're just gonna have to watch me do the whole damn thing. Color with me, Sarah. Oh boy. And now there's areas where there's a little bit of red. You just want to be careful to only do the area that's black. Get the thinner little lines down there, just lighten up your hand a little bit. Or you can change it, the thickness of the line if you want. Oops, that's too thick. Undo. Whoop. Come on. There we go. So this is not vector. The size of canvas you make it at is the largest size that it's naturally going to, that it's going to print. If you try to print it bigger than how you made it, it's going to look pixelated after a while. You should, though, be able to take just your outline if you wanted to and put it into Photoshop, I guess, and vector your outline once you get a nice clean one, if you were going to do a project that was a lot larger. Takes a little getting used to. That work on here. Oh, there you go. Make it a little smaller and get these little spaces. And since you've closed in this whole area where the lines are like connected, now you can drag that in there and fill that area in really fast if you want. It's kind of a cool trick. So you can change your line and be more accurate than I'm being. I'm just gonna kind of go fast and just try to get the general idea here. You can of course do these a little nicer if you kind of do it like that, fill them in. Oh no. I guess I don't have it closed off. I'll just fill it in. It's like if you have a shape that's totally closed, then I'll do that circle thing just for the heck of it. Then you can drag it in there and color it. I'll undo that. But if you're like almost closed, but not quite, it doesn't work. It has to be a closed shape. I'm really getting sloppy because we'll get on to the next thing in a minute here. Okay, I got some weird little mark over here, so I'm going to use the eraser. The eraser is the same as the pen tool because you pick which shape the eraser is going to be. I can have it as any of these brushes. You can airbrush an eraser. I'll just do it on technical pen because that's fine. I'm not going to do the name right now. So now I can take this, disappear that layer for a minute, just turn it off and say, hey, that looks pretty good. And I think I'm happy with that. So now, what am I doing? Oh yeah, you swipe this way. I'm going to duplicate the outline. I always like to have two of them. Now I'm going to take the original one and I'm going to lock it. That means you can't draw on it or change anything. So I'm going to work on this outline layer. Now we don't want it red anymore, we want it black. So this magic wand thing, I'm going to go to Hue, Saturation, and Brightness and click Layer. Now there's all these different ways that you can mess with the color. This brightness will very quickly make your red black if you slide it all the way down. So ta-da! Now you've got your black outline, and that's super cool. And you still save the original one in case you want to do anything to it. We're going to start a new layer, and this will be for coloring. Or I guess I'll call it shading. Now I found a cool one that you might like. This is called Textures, and I picked decimals. This is going to give you that dotted comic book look that you like. So now we have to choose a color that might look good. We'll go with this kind of brownish color. And you probably know this about layers already, but that's on top of them. You always want the shading to be underneath the outline, and now you'll be able to see the outline through it. And of course, if you make it smaller, you can barely even see the dots. So figure out what size you like it. Here's where you might want to turn on your under layer just to see it. Make sure you're on your shading layer. Oops, that's way too big. So now you can see how that's gonna fill it in. Change the color however you want it, but okay, I had to erase it. That looks like about the right size. Make sure you're on the shading layer. This is kind of a neat trick. You can use this selection tool, and you're gonna make, oh damn it, I'm clumsy. You're gonna drag this dotted line around the whole outside of an area that you want to color. Be kind of picky about it, and since the shading's going to go under the outline, it's okay if we're not perfect with the black, but you want to try to stay in the area that you want to color. I like to mostly follow the outline. I meet up with that dot where you started. Then you click on your brush, and you'll see that everything looks like it has like a light gray stripe except for the area that you selected. So now I can color, but I can only color in that space. I can't color in any of the other areas. So I can kind of swipe this comic book effect over it. I've actually never used this brush before. It's pretty neat. There's also brush kits you can buy that you can download that people make that are pretty cool. You might find one that you like better than this. I guess if I just swipe it though and I try to use the same, that looks pretty good. And then you click that again, and now you can color wherever you want again. So you could kind of do the same thing with his eye area here. See what I mean? Oops. I'm gonna do the same thing up here. It's pretty cool. Just selecting the area you want to color in and go for it. I'll do this lip. I think that was colored. Oh, but you can always go turn this on for a reference if you need it. This is earlobe, huh? Well, anyways, you can... I'm gonna move on to something else in a minute here. Damn it. I can't hold my tablet like I usually do because I'm trying to make a video for you, and it's awkward. Okay, that's pretty neat. Now, shading, outline, I'm going to make another one. We're going to call this lettering. Go back to inking. I'm going to use the technical pen again. I don't really mess around too much in here. When I find something I like, I kind of stick to it. Here we can do the thing where you hold it and it makes the line straight. We got a few straight segments here. Fill it in. Oops. No? That's cool. Erase my little mark. Oh, that's on a different layer. You can just color it in like this if you want. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to do the whole name. I just wanted to show you something. Another cool thing you can do, we're on the lettering layer. I just made this letter, and there's a few things you can do that are kind of cool. You can use the selection tool again and select that letter, and now I can move it around, and I can make it small. I can turn it, I can I can flip it, you know, I can do all those cool things. I can do this warp thing and be like, oh, I'm gonna bend it and make it look crazy. I'll go back to uniform. This is something that I actually use a lot. Sometimes I'll do like a whole alphabet of lettering like this and save it as a file, and then I can go cut out and copy the letters that I want and space them across the page, you know. Then you can take this letter too. Oh, where'd it go? Copy and paste. Did I do that right? Yeah, now you've got two of them. You can just keep doing that if you feel like it. Copy and paste, and then you'll see how it's got the gray lines in the background. That's because it still is selected. So when you click on something else, it'll unselect it. But you do this, and then you can grab your letter. You like to do a lot of cool lettering stuff in the background of your design. So I thought this was pretty neat because you can move everything around independently, which is pretty cool. And put them on different layers and stuff. If I want to grab one of these larger C's again, I just have to circle it again and click that arrow. Oops, I did that wrong. This is being really picky today because I can't hold it. Stop it. Now I made a mark. Why is it doing that? That's weird. That is so weird. I don't know why. Huh. See, that's what it's supposed to do. Why is it acting like that? I'm so confused. Oh my gosh, that's frustrating. Well, you get the general idea of it, I think. So yeah, you can do that and move these things all over the place. It's kind of cool. And then another thing, if you're printing on paper, it's got this white background. The background will actually print, like on a digital print, like the stuff for Redbubble or Society6. If you printed it like this, you would get a white rectangle printed on a black shirt or whatever with this graphic. So you'll be, if you take out the background color, then you just see a grid, and all that's going to print is what you've actually drawn on here. But you might want some white behind him. So I'm going to make a new layer. This is kind of a weird thing that I do. I don't know if it's normal to do or not. I'm going to call this background filler. just so that I can see better, I'm going to go to the actual background that's on here and make it any other color. I just made it green. Now I'll go to the background filler layer. Oh, and you're also going to want, I'll put it on top. I can move it later. Never mind. I'll use the technical pen. I'm going to make this white. There's other ways to do this. I'm going to show you this way because it's really easy. You're just going to kind of, this is the quickest way that I know of to do it. You're just going to kind of outline the whole thing. Oops. I don't think you have to do this when you're actually silk screening because you're just burning the image onto the screen, but those digital printers will read anything that's on here as a color. So unless you're printing this on a white shirt, he'll be green or red or whatever color the shirt is, if that makes sense. Same thing with doing stickers and stuff too. Anything digitally printed, I guess. Oops. Okay. Now I'm just gonna fill that whole thing. And now this is gonna be the bottom layer. And now he's all white in the background. So now, if I actually remove the background color, that's how it's gonna print in digital printing to go. It'll look like this on a red shirt or any color of shirt. It's gonna be white and black and this kind of brown color that I made it. So what else can we do with this? I'll put this back on just for the heck of it and make it white again. What else can we do that's interesting? Shit. I'm like, what's appropriate for this? Oh yeah, this is a good one. I'm on the outline layer, for example, and there's copy and cut if you go under the wrench here, or copy and copy canvas, I'm sorry. Copy canvas will copy anything that's on the screen. It's going to copy the white there. If I add this on, it's going to copy this red lettering. It'll copy the entire screen. That's copy canvas. If you just do copy, I don't know why they don't call it copy layer, but if I only do, okay, I'm on the outline layer. If I only do copy, it's only going to copy the outline layer that I had selected. So now I can open another blank canvas and hit the wrench again and hit paste, and it just gives me the outline. See what I'm saying? So now I could start a whole new artwork with just the outline. Maybe I just want to print this on a shirt without the dotting behind it or something, or make a cry cut sticker. So you can, you could do this at a smaller size on a different canvas just by copying that from the other artwork that you made. So that's pretty cool. What else is under here that's cool? One more thing, and then we'll save it for another time. You could make a drawing guide. This doesn't really have much to do with what you're drawing here. Let me start a different layer. I'll just call this experiment because it has kind of nothing to do with what we're doing. I'm going to do drawing guide and then edit drawing guide. Now I've got a grid on here. And there's 2D grid, isometric, perspective. These are all fun things to play around with. But if you do symmetry, this is going to find like the middle of the page, but you can move it if you want. So I'll just put it in the middle of Chuck Berry's face. And opacity and thickness are just, it helps you see the guideline better. It'll make it darker. And I put it on symmetry. So now this is going to allow me to, let me pick a color. This is going to allow me to draw symmetrical. Whatever I do on one side shows up on the other side. So I can totally be like, I'm going to give Chuck Berry a heart tattoo on his head. It's super cool. And I give him horns. And they're just going to show up the same on both sides. Now he's kind of like the Angus Young AC/DC thing with the devil horns. See, his face isn't symmetrical, so now that's not going to work out very well, but you get the idea. If you're ever going to do a design that's symmetrical, just throw this drawing guide down the middle, and then you can make anything you want, and it's pretty fun. It's like a super cool thing. I have like a little animal thing. And I'll usually do, it's really dorky, I'll usually do something like that, make a new layer and do a real outline in black later. But yeah, so that's fun. Okay, I hope you, oh wait, you also go, you're gonna go to share, of course, to send it. So you got your PSD files that are gonna work with your Adobe stuff. If you were gonna send me something in Procreate, you could send it as a Procreate file, and then I've got all of your layers and stuff. PNG is usually what you want to do to print digitally if you were going to do that. There's this dorky thing down here that shows you an animation of everything that you drew if you're interested in that. I think that's pretty dorky. A lot of people use that though for their Instagrams. What else was I gonna do? Shit. Damn it. Oh yeah, I was also going to tell you that if you send this to print, it's whatever you actually see will print. If I don't want this red stuff that I just did to print, then I can get rid of it and it won't print. It says assisted underneath because that was my symmetrical drawing layer. It's got the guide on there. So I can go over here and hit drawing assist and it turns that off, so I can't do it anymore. And then I go to where it says drawing guide and I turn that off, and then the guide disappears because that'll actually print too, which is kind of weird. But yeah, the other thing that's probably kind of weird compared to Adobe things is that you don't have lists of instances of everything that you did. This is part of why layers are so important. You can only undo and redo, and when you undo, it'll actually go back to different layers. If I did 3 things here and I undo those 3 things, it'll skip to this layer and undo that thing and bounce around in order, and that's pretty annoying. So it's good to keep things on separate layers because now I don't have to go through different layers to undo something. I can just be like, I don't like this, I'm gonna erase this horn. You know what I'm saying? And erase things on the layers because the undo thing is not specific to independent layers, but what do you want? It costs like 12 bucks or something, right? Okay, dude, have fun. Let me know if any of this made sense. Smell you later.